Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, hi, my name's Jack, it's nice to meet you. So for today's video, it's the one and only reacting to red flags. Now, I asked a bunch of you over on my Instagram, if you're not following us, why? I asked you all on there for some suggestions on what a red flag is to you, and basically this video is going to be me going through them all. We're going to have a little discussion about it and I'm going to react to your red flags. So I've seen this trend on Instagram, I think it was, and I've seen a few other YouTubers do it, so I thought why not do it. It seems pretty interesting, with Valentine's Day being around the corner as well. I think red flags overall is a funny one because everyone's got so many different opinions on it and everyone's got loads of different red flags that they would class in a person. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what people think. Okay, so the first one is dating a student. To be honest, this might sound bad, but I do agree with this one. I really do. I think because I was a student in the past, I kind of understand the way the student lifestyle works and the student mindset and everything like that. And I think when you're a student, this isn't for all students, but I think when you're living this student life, you don't necessarily have everything figured out yet. I just don't feel like priorities are in the right place as well for a student, say if we're settled down with a relationship, and they're still learning all these new things in life. And especially when I was a student, I didn't really have a clue who I was or what I was doing. I mean, I still don't now, but back then it was just way worse. So I think if I was to put myself in the position of dating a student, I think that would really make me feel uneasy. Not that I don't think they'd be a nice person or anything like that. I just think with me being more mature now and older, I just don't feel like our priorities would align correctly. Because when you're a student, all you care about is going out 4 times a week and getting absolutely wrecked, and that's just not something that I do anymore. So I just don't think our lives would align up. So I do definitely understand why people think it's a red flag if they are a PT. Now, there is a lot of hype with boys and going to the gym and being a personal trainer and everything like that. From first-hand experience, I've not really been around personal trainers or dated personal trainers or have friends who are personal trainers, so I couldn't really comment on whether I think that's personally a red flag. But I have been around people who just love to talk about the gym, and the gym is their life, and they don't really have any life outside the gym, and the gym's just their personality trait. So, but with personal trainers, I don't really feel like I've met enough or been around to know how they go on. So I don't know, that's a tough one for me. Arrogance, dishonesty, and disingenuous. I fully agree with this one. I think it's such a red flag if you can't trust someone, whether it be the person you're seeing or a friend or a family member or a colleague. It's very disingenuous, and I think it puts that awkward atmosphere in the air as well. And I think when you've been betrayed and you've been around a lot of dishonest people, it can really affect your soul in a way that you feel awkward putting yourself out there again, or you've always got your guard up because you always feel like someone's just gonna betray you or out to get you. I think it's such a big red flag if someone is just continuing to lie and just isn't really being honest with you. But yeah, if you're in a relationship and the person's continuously lying to you or making you feel like you're going insane, 100% you need to get rid. I think in terms of being arrogant, you can be arrogant in a chill way. There's a very fine line between being arrogant and being self-confident, and I think a lot of people get the two mixed up, but I totally agree with that. Unreliable people. Oh my god, this one actually really digs deep into my soul because I really agree with it. I cannot stand unreliable people, whether it's friends, whether it's people I'm seeing or have seen in the past. It's just not a good look. No shade, but I've got loads of friends who are really unreliable and I just cannot stand it because I've really put myself across as I'm quite a reliable person. I would say that, and I've been told in the past, I am quite a reliable person. I feel like people could rely on me emotionally or for me to be there or, whatever. I show up on time. I'm very good in that aspect. I don't really like letting people down, so I'm always trying to do my best. But it's those people who are just really unreliable and you don't know what time they're going to turn up, what mood they're going to be in, where they're going to be. I just don't get these unreliable people. How do you live your life just being so unreliable? It would honestly make me so uneasy. People who cancel a lot and they're here, there and everywhere. Honest to God, it stresses me out. I couldn't. Rude to waiters or bartenders, definitely. I remember being on a date once and I think we're like in this like Italian restaurant, and I'd seen the guy maybe like once or twice before, and this was honestly like the putter. We're literally like sat at the table, it was like fine, and just the way like he went on when he was talking to the waiter. Oh, it just like, for someone at the time like me who was also working in hospitality, like, because I totally get it. I think when you're out you should just be polite. Like, I just don't understand these people who are just so rude to waiting staff and people who work in bars and everything, like. But yeah, like, that literally put me off a date once, so I would definitely agree that that's a red flag. Them having to know all your passwords for social media and your phone. I mean, having to ask for passwords and stuff, like, it's just a red flag in itself. I think if you're in a relationship, you know, and you're wanting to ask for passwords to phones and stuff like that, to like check whatever you want to check, I just don't really feel like you should be in the relationship in the first place. Like, if this person's making you feel really uneasy and like they're not being honest and you can't trust them 100%, and yeah, I just really don't think you should be in a relationship. Like, I think the other person who's asking for these passwords and stuff is obviously went through a bit of trauma in a past relationship and still probably isn't over it, and I think if that is the case, then you just shouldn't be together. It's just not something that is healthy. I mean, from personal experience, no one's ever asked me for like passwords or anything, but if someone actually did, then I would stop seeing them, because it's just like do you really not trust us that much? Like, I get it, people have went through things in the past and, you know, they might have been cheated on or, you know, lied to, but I think you need to get over that trauma before you bring it on to someone else. People who chant "whoop, there it is" at the rave. Now, I actually fully agree with this one, and I love the whole stop whoop there. I can't even speak. I love the whole stop the whoop there it is at the raves, in the clubs or whatever, the movement. And to be honest, I feel like it's been quite successful because I've not heard it since. So someone has said DJs. I was really sat thinking about this because I do have a few friends who are, you know, like in the nightlife industry, who like are DJs and whatever, like are in all that, and I think it was just a tricky thing to think about because I need to know how I felt about it. What I'm gonna say is, I feel like we live in a world where we've had the influencer culture, and now I really feel like we're going on to the whole everyone wants to be a DJ kind of culture and that kind of era of life, which is totally fine. Like, you do you, be happy, do what you want to do. But I think some people just get into it for the wrong reasons, and I feel like it gets to people's heads a lot, and they do think they're above everyone else. Like, not going to mention names, but I've met some outrageously self-absorbed like DJs, or like people who like work in nightclub and like the industry, promoters, like that kind of life, and it really does get to people's heads, and it's honestly so sad to say, because I'm just like, when that club closes at like 3 or 4, like no one gives a fuck about you, and that sounds so horrible, but like majority of the time nobody cares. Like, people go out to have a good time, like they don't give a fuck. So I think if like you make a music and stuff and you're really passionate about it, then fair enough. But if you're literally like, if you're going for the aesthetic and to look good on Instagram and, you know, to be popular in your city, I just don't think it's the right career path for you. Then there's also the stigma of like DJs always like sleeping around, and it's such a tricky one. Like, it's not necessarily a red flag for me. Like, personally, would I see a DJ? I'm not bothered, to be honest. Like, it doesn't really affect us that much. Like, the whole thing kind of goes over my head, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I'm not amazed by it or anything. I'm just like, you do you. But I think there is a lot of people who just like ruin it for others, and like, if someone doesn't sit and give you a cuddle after sex. Ooh, a bit of a rude one. Actually, it's not rude, we're all adults here, let's be mature about this. Personally, it's not a red flag for me. Can't really see why it would be, but each to their own. Inconsistency. Oh, like, yeah, this one I find really hard because I feel like it ties in with the unreliable people. I think obviously the older you get, the busier you get, and the more things go on and you don't have time to see everyone, etc. But I think if you're seeing someone, if it's in terms of you seeing someone and, you know, they're being really inconsistent, whether it's like replies, messaging, cancelling, making plans, like, you know, or they're leaving you undelivered, and it's like, okay, like, we'll get it, you're too famous to open the message. One phrase that's always helped me is, if they really wanted to, they would. Need I say any more? Hygiene, a million % agree with this one. To be honest, guys, I just don't really feel like there's any excuse to not wear deodorant. I don't understand it. And you know, this actually makes me like think, like, what did people do before deodorant was actually invented? If I was sort of seeing someone, or if I had friends who just had really bad personal hygiene, like, yeah, I mean, would I tell them? Yeah, I would tell them, and I think I would like probably stop speaking to them if they didn't sort it out, because it is such a big ick. You don't want to be around someone who's just like very unclean. They never say how are you after you asked how they are. Yeah, that one is really annoying, to be honest. Like, it used to get to us more than it does now. I think I've just learned to accept that some people just actually don't care. Like, some people just don't care to ask how we are, and like, is what it is, really. Like, you can't do nothing to change that, I think, with some people, but yeah, it's so rude. Them not showing you off on social media and making you feel like a secret. That's a really interesting one, because I was actually talking about this the other day with one of my friends, because we're having the conversation about it, because that's how she was feeling. To be honest, I really relate to this one as well. Like, I've been the secret in the past, and honestly, like, it really does get to you eventually. I think the first few months, you know, when you're sneaking around and stuff, like, it can be quite fun, but I think it's when it starts to progress. It's that spiral, isn't it? It's like, you're messaging all the time, you're going on dates, you're sleeping together, you're meeting as friends, you know, you're meeting the family, you're going away together, and then bang, like, you're at the relationship stage. And I think, like, from the relationship stage, if you still feel like a bit of a secret, then it's definitely something you should be investigating, because you don't want to get at that stage and still feel like you're still sneaking around and stuff. Like, I get it, not everyone's a social media person. I mean, for God's sake, I do YouTube. Like, I sit and speak to a camera, and, you know, I quite openly share some of my life online, and like, that's not for everyone. But you've just got to realise sometimes not everyone is a social media person as well. But I do think, you know, if it's like your birthday and stuff, and if you're tagging them and stuff, like, repost it. Like, I honestly don't understand the issue. I think if you've got an Instagram account there and you do actively sort of use it, and you're not like posting your boyfriend or reposting your girlfriend, like, you need to sort it out, really, because that stuff does get to people, and it probably does make you feel like you're living this secret life. So I do totally understand how that could be a red flag. Someone who takes no interest in you as a person. I really agree with this one. I think if someone is fine in a conversation, whether it be on a date or the worst, I think if they're not asking you about yourself on a date, like, leave. I think if someone just sits there and talks about themselves continuously and just like sucks the life out of you, because, you know, there is people out there who do, then people who just drain your energy and your vibe. If they're not really interested in like who you are as a person, what you do, etc., then honestly bin them off. You need to get rid. Well, that was quite interesting, to be honest. There was a lot of a variety of things in there. I didn't mention everything that I got. There was quite a few. So if you do want to see a part 2 video, I just didn't want to make this really long. If you want to see a part 2 video, please let me know. If you do agree with any of these red flags, please comment down below. If you are one of these people who relate to one of these red flags and you are the red flag, please get the hint. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one.